Hi, I'm David Fleming, and I want to welcome you to the YouTube channel of Disciples Ignited, where we are really focused on Jesus, advancing his kingdom, and preparing his disciples. And talking about disciples, I have written a series of books on discipleship that's going to help you learn what a disciple is all about. It's called Spirit-Filled Discipleship. It's a series of 3 books. Each book is full of content from God's Word that's going to teach you what discipleship is all about. You can use it in your own individual life, or you can use it in a group setting. It's great for group studies. So look it up on Amazon. It's going to be a great resource for you, and especially those that are interested in more about discipleship. Now, here at Disciples Ignited, we have started a new series on prophets and prophetic ministry. For the past 2 videos, we've been dealing with Abraham, who was called by the Lord himself a prophet. But today we're going to look at Aaron, who was also a prophet. But there's something very interesting about Aaron of the Old Testament. We read it in Exodus chapter 7, verse 1. Then the Lord said to Moses, "See, I have made you like God to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet." Whoa! Wow, what does this mean? Well, the Lord said, I'm going to make you like God to Pharaoh. Otherwise, Pharaoh was going to look at Moses as an example of the Lord himself. But then the Lord said, but I'm going to give you someone to stand with you, and he is going to be your prophet. That's going to be Aaron, which was Moses' brother. So that tells us something. That teaches us something. There are those that are called to the prophetic office that are really given as a gift to the whole church. Their ministry may be to the whole local body. It might be to a whole city or whole nation. It can be very broad. But there are others who are called as into the prophetic office of leadership, and the Lord uses them to really center in their ministry to minister to a particular person of higher leadership, as Aaron ministered to Moses. Oh, they were like God's special mouthpiece to this particular person, as Aaron was to Moses. There was another person in the Old Testament that we find that was surrounded with prophets that had a lot of input into their life. And that was David, King David. I'm going to read to you a little short snippet from my 3rd book in the Spirit-Filled Discipleship series, talking about this matter. David not only prophesied, but he also submitted himself to the prophetic ministry of others. He realized that the Lord would give him direction as well as discipline through the prophets. He understood that if he was to accomplish the task that the Lord had given him, he was going to need their ministry. There were 3 prophets of the Lord who were especially influential in David's life. Then we go on to tell you who these 3 are and talk a little bit more about them, but I'll just give it to you in a bullet point. There was Samuel, the prophet seer. There was Nathan, the prophet, and then there was Gad, the prophet seer. Each one of these prophets were instrumental in ministering into David's life. Oh! And what's very interesting, considering David, is that David gave these prophets the distinct responsibility to write down his history. Why is that so important? Because David realized that they were going to tell the truth. Oh, they were a mouthpiece of the Lord. They weren't going to lie to cover up David's sin. No, they told it all. And so we see that the Lord gave Moses a prophet to speak into his life. Aaron reveals that the Lord may call a prophet to a particular person to help him fulfill his God-given purpose. So see, the Lord uses prophets in all different ways. He might use them in a very broad range ministry, but he might just really focus their ministry into the leadership of one person. How unique is our God? How wonderful he is. Let's talk more about prophets and prophetic ministry tomorrow.